Hello, General Hospital today will reveal. Whispers of suspicion have begun to cloud the halls of Port Charles, and this time they swirl around Willow Corinthos, a woman once admired for her quiet strength and maternal devotion. But recent developments suggest that Willow may be spiraling into something far darker and more desperate, driven by a complex cocktail of fear, insecurity, and an unwillingness to relinquish the place she once held in her family. The growing presence of Jacinda Bracken into Michael Corinthos' life seems to be setting off alarm bells that Willow can no longer silence. With Paige Herschel's Jacinda stepping into the Corinthos orbit as Michael's new romantic partner and becoming increasingly involved with Wiley and Amelia, Willow may be inching toward a dangerous breaking point, one that could lead to a carefully calculated act of sabotage. From the beginning, Jacinda's presence has unsettled Willow. The relationship between Michael and Jacinda emerged during a time when Willow was emotionally and physically distant from her family, a distance fueled by months of personal upheaval and inner turmoil. As Michael found comfort and stability in Jacinda, Willow watched from the sidelines, grappling with the realization that someone else had stepped into her former life with ease. But beyond the emotional sting, there may be a deeper motive simmering beneath Willow's surface, an unwillingness to see Jacinda occupy a role that Willow still believes belongs to her. For Willow, the idea of Jacinda becoming a stepmother to Wiley and Amelia is not just a threat to her place in the children's lives, but a threat to her very identity. Complicating matters is Willow's perception of Jacinda's past. Once a sex worker, Jacinda's history has become a quiet weapon in Willow's internal war. Though Jacinda has moved on and rebuilt her life, Willow seems incapable of looking past the label, allowing judgment and prejudice to infect her view of the woman now sitting at her family's table. There is a distinct sense that Willow's disdain for Jacinda is less about actual concern for the children and more about resentment. The children have grown close to Jacinda, and each moment of shared laughter or affection may feel like a dagger to Willow's heart, further feeding a silent vendetta. And as more time passes without Willow being able to fully reclaim her bond with Wiley and Amelia, her anxieties may be transforming into something far more sinister. The courtroom revelations only fueled Willow's downward trajectory. When Alexis Davis secured a major blow to Michael's credibility by dismantling his alibi, Willow's reaction seemed less about justice and more about hope. Hope that Jacinda and Michael's relationship would falter under the weight of legal and personal strain. When it was revealed that Michael had not been with Jacinda at the time of the shooting, it raised serious questions about trust and transparency. For Willow, it could have been a sign. An opportunity to destabilize Jacinda's standing and push Michael toward re-evaluating the relationship. Whether or not Willow orchestrated Alexis's strategy is unclear, but the benefit she drew from the fallout is undeniable. Now, with Willow back in the picture and watching Jacinda thrive in the space she once occupied, it's clear that the former Mrs. Corinthos is not content to simply fade into the background. Having lost months consumed with fear that their affections are slipping away from her and that Jacinda is capitalizing on that void, the once devoted mother is now wrestling with the possibility that her own children may feel more connected to the woman who tucked them in at night while she was absent. That fear, coupled with jealousy and unresolved pain, could be pushing Willow into a mental and emotional state where manipulation becomes her method of defense. The question then becomes, how far will Willow go? The seeds of mistrust she may be planting against Jacinda are likely not incidental. Whispered concern about Jacinda's influence on the children, subtle critiques of her morality, and quiet lobbying behind the scenes could all be a part of a larger strategy to slowly erode the trust that Michael and others have built around Jacinda. These are not overt attacks. They are insidious, buried beneath a veneer of maternal concern. But beneath that polished surface may lie a calculated desire to reclaim control, to ensure no one else can wear the title of mother without consequence.
At the same time, Willow's internal conflict is no less gripping. Part of her may understand the unfairness of her assumptions, may even question her own motivations. But emotional wounds don't heal on logic alone. And the mixture of guilt and longing that defines her relationship with Wiley and Amelia is quickly giving way to possessiveness. If Willow views Jacinda not merely as a romantic rival but as an interloper in her family dynamic, then any move to weaken Jacinda's presence socially, emotionally, or even legally may feel justified in her increasingly fractured mind. As the weeks unfold, all eyes will be on how far Willow is willing to go to secure her place in her children's lives and eliminate the perceived threat Jacinda poses. What makes the situation so volatile is the lack of clear evidence. Willow isn't storming into rooms or making loud accusations. She's subtly altering the landscape, shifting perceptions one conversation at a time. And if she continues down this path, the damage may be slow, invisible even, but ultimately devastating. The fallout of such a plan could backfire catastrophically, exposing Willow not as a wounded mother, but as a master manipulator cloaked in sorrow. And so the real danger here is not Jacinda's history, nor Michael's fractured trust. It's the quiet rage building inside Willow, a storm without thunder, preparing to destroy whatever stands between her and the family she feels slipping from her grasp. While the shadows of suspicion surround Willow's increasingly tense emotional state, Jacinda Bracken continues to forge a very different path, one paved with patience, genuine effort, and a growing emotional bond with Wiley. With each passing day, Jacinda becomes more embedded in Michael's family dynamic, not through grand gestures or manipulative schemes, but through something far more disarming: authentic connection. Her ability to engage Wiley with ease, particularly through their shared love of video games, has made her a surprising source of comfort for the young boy. In a world that's been marked by upheaval and shifting parental figures, Jacinda's quiet stability has become a welcome contrast, especially for a child as emotionally sensitive as Wiley. Jacinda understands just how central Michael's children are to his identity. She's never attempted to replace Willow, nor has she overstepped any boundaries, at least not overtly. But her growing bond with Wiley has not gone unnoticed, especially by Willow, who has observed from the margins as Jacinda's presence slowly transitions from that of a casual visitor to a trusted adult in the household. Jacinda has done her homework both literally and figuratively, learning about Wiley's favorite games, supporting his routines, and showing up when it counts. For Michael, this kind of attentiveness may seem like evidence of compatibility and emotional intelligence. For Willow, however, it's a growing threat to a bond she's already afraid of losing. The courtroom fallout from Michael's exposed alibi did little to shake his trust in Jacinda, and that loyalty only deepened Willow's fears. She had likely hoped that once Jacinda's role in the false alibi was exposed, Michael would distance himself, seeing it as a betrayal or at the very least a liability. Instead, Michael stood by Jacinda, which to Willow likely felt like a slap in the face. Her plan, if she had one, appeared to falter, and instead of watching Jacinda retreat in shame, Willow now sees her rival becoming more entrenched in her family than ever before. This development may be quietly fueling Willow's emotional volatility and pushing her toward more drastic thoughts. What's especially unnerving for Willow is Jacinda's increasing presence in Wiley's day-to-day life. From helping with school projects to simply being around during bedtime routines, Jacinda is slowly becoming a fixture in the boy's world. And while Jacinda may not consciously be angling for the title of stepmother, her actions speak volumes. Children pick up on who shows up, who listens, and who plays, and Jacinda has checked every one of those boxes. For Willow, the threat isn't just emotional, it's existential. If Jacinda continues on this trajectory, she may very well become the kind of maternal figure Willow always aspired to be but no longer has the opportunity to embody. This looming possibility that Jacinda might one day marry Michael and legally step into a maternal role could be triggering every fear and insecurity Willow harbors. It's no longer just about jealousy or wounded pride. It's about permanence. A wedding would cement Jacinda's position in a way that would be hard to challenge. Wiley wouldn't just see her as daddy's friend anymore. She would become family. She would have a seat at every future holiday, every parent-teacher conference, every formative moment that Willow used to consider hers. And with Amelia also becoming more aware and responsive to the adults around her, the timeline for solidifying emotional bonds is closing fast. Jacinda's presence in those moments becomes more than threatening, it becomes unbearable. Willow, having spent so many months separated from her children during her emotional and legal battles, already feels like a stranger in her own home. The guilt of that absence lingers in every moment she now shares with Wiley and Amelia. Instead of joy, she may feel like she's being judged, compared, even replaced. And Jacinda's natural ease with the children, her warmth and intuitive responses only deepen that feeling. In Willow's mind, it may no longer matter that she's their biological mother. What matters is who they choose to trust, and right now that choice may be shifting toward Jacinda. Compounding this fear is the perception that Michael is moving on, not just romantically, but emotionally and structurally. His ability to lean on Jacinda during moments of crisis, to trust her with his children, to invite her into the most vulnerable parts of his life all point to something serious. Willow knows Michael better than most, and she can likely sense the inevitability of where this is headed. If she doesn't act soon, the wedding she dreads may become a reality. And once that happens, her influence, already fragile, could be shattered completely. In truth, Jacinda has not actively pursued this outcome. Her actions appear genuine and motivated by love rather than ambition. But none of that matters in Willow's internal narrative. The optics are all that count, and from where she stands, Jacinda is conquering territory that once belonged solely to her. The idea of sitting across from Jacinda at family events, hearing Wiley call her mom even once in passing, or watching Michael say vows to another woman. All of these possibilities are more than Willow can bear. So the question remains, will Willow intervene before it's too late? Will she attempt to subtly unravel Jacinda's the relationship with Michael or disrupt her standing with Wiley, or will her fear morph into something more explosive? Something that forces everyone to re-examine just how far Willow is willing to go to reclaim what she believes is hers? The emotional storm is brewing beneath the surface, and Jacinda, whether knowingly or not, is walking directly into it. Certainly. Below is an extended, richly detailed version of your narrative in English, exploring the full depth of Willow's psychological evolution and the ominous threat looming over Jacinda. The woman that residents of Port Charles once knew as Willow Corinthos, a devoted mother, a loyal partner, a gentle presence in a town plagued by betrayal and violence, has begun to disappear. In her place now stands a colder, more calculating figure. One who has not only become emboldened by recent events, but seems dangerously comfortable walking a fine line between victim and perpetrator. What began as a quiet transformation marked by grief, regret, and longing has now crystallized into a far more alarming reality. Willow is no longer acting out of emotion alone. She is acting with intent, precision, and an unsettling sense of control. Her recent decision to inject Drew with a mysterious substance that induced a debilitating stroke marked a point of debility. No return. In that moment, Willow revealed a side of herself that was not swayed by empathy, hesitation, or fear of consequence. She acted with chilling resolve, administering the injection with steady hands and a calm expression, as if it were simply a medical procedure rather than a life-altering assault. The calculated nature of that act, performed while Drew lay helpless without witnesses, and followed by a careful cover-up, shocked even longtime viewers of General Hospital. It was not just the deed itself that disturbed the audience, but the serene confidence with which Willow executed it. There was no panic, no second thoughts, no visible remorse. This transformation did not occur overnight. It has been building over months, perhaps even years, beneath layers of loss, guilt, and isolation. But now that it has been fully realized, the implications are terrifying, especially for Jacinda Brack.